Through the first half of the 2024 outdoor season, Chase Sexton continued to make the kind of mistakes that have come to characterize his reputation, at least in part. But it now appears the KTM rider has this championship by the neck. 5 straight moto wins, a 13-point advantage over the last Lawrence left standing. Sexton, who had spent so much of the season with his results suffering since his transition to Red Bull KTM, has now emerged at the top of the heap with his second straight 1-1 finish, further extending the points lead he grabbed the previous weekend. Sexton simply strong-armed the field physically, wearing down key championship rival Hunter from both motos. Still a rookie in 450 racing, Lawrence has given it all he has to stay in the battle, but ended up 2-2 for the day. Admitting that, in Australian slang, he was simply effed. Too tired to fight Sexton to the end.
The Americans might not understand what I'm about to say, but I was rooted. I was buggered. And, yeah.
Nestled in amongst a forest of fir trees, Washougal Motocross Park rests just south of the National Forest and north of the scenic Columbia River, which acts as a boundary line for much of Washington and Oregon. Some say it is one of the most beautiful motocross parks in the world, and many a bike brochure and advertisement have been photographed on the most scenic stop on the circuit. Washougal is known for its hills, in particular the famous Horsepower Hill, the ever-present deep whoop section leading to the finish line, and most important, deceptively slick dirt and infamous late-day shadows cast by the massive fir trees that surround the track. The piece of land, a logged field, was spotted by Dave Demio and Glenn Gordon when they were flying overhead in an airplane while traveling east of Vancouver. The two approached Bob Leach, whose family today owns the Albany Motocross Park in Albany, Oregon, to design and build a motocross track. Glenn and Dave opened the track to racing in 1971. In 1976, the park featured the Northwest Challenge, a big regional race, which ultimately led to its first national. In 1979, Ed Youngblood, then the head of the AMA, visited the property after track promoter Bob Osborne asked if Washougal could host a national. The promoter's efforts succeeded when, on July 6, 1980, Washougal held its first outdoor national motocross race. Local boy Chuck Sun from Sherwood, Oregon, won the 500 class on a Honda, and Mark Barnett took the 125 class on a Suzuki. That same year, Ralph Huffman entered the picture. The eventual owner began his involvement by offering some fencing material for the track. Ralph had never raced motorcycles, but as the longtime co-owner of a logging company, he was plenty familiar with operating large machinery. Huffman would eventually take over the operation in 1987 by leasing the property, then purchasing the 180-acre grounds outright in 1995. Washougal has hosted a round of the National Motocross Championships, dating back to that first race, making it the premier and longest-running motorsports event in the Pacific Northwest. With the 250 class running on the same day as the 125 and 500s, still on a Yamaha, Ricky Johnson won the race in 1983, and again in 1984 on his way to a first national championship.
You had to go all the way back to 1984 to find a Yamaha that was still yellow. Johnson locked in a battle with Lachine for most of the first moto. Lachine kept the pressure on, but it wasn't enough. Had to pass Rick Johnson and Mark Barnett. His mechanic Chris Haynes puts on probably the biggest pit board in the history of the sport. Must get Barnett. Lachine kept the hammer down, chasing Barnett in later stages of the moto under pressure from Bob Hanna. lose the front end in one of the thick powder berms here in the back section going down, effectively handing the title over to Rick Johnson. So for Johnson, he went on to win many titles, becoming one of the sport's legends, won his first title in 1984 right here in Washougal.
For the latter half of the 80s and first half of the 90s, the AMA ran a split schedule, with 125 class racing taking place throughout the season, but with generally 6 to 8 250 races, followed by 4 to 6 Big Bore 500 Nationals as the premier class, until the dissolution of the 500cc National Division following the 1994 season. In 1991, Yamaha's Damon Bradshaw campaigned a barely updated version of the venerable air-cooled YZ490, dubbed the WR500, with a wider ratio transmission and an oversized enduro tank. A formidable task against Works, Honda, and Kawasaki 500s. But with the kind of grit and determination that made one wonder how the South could have lost the Civil War, Bradshaw came to do battle on the severely outdated machine, only to be simply outgunned by Team Honda and the defending Big Bore champion, Kawasaki's Jeff Ward.
Welcome back to National Championship Motocross. I'm Larry Myers. Coming up, motocross action in the 125 and 500 class. We'll have that for you very shortly. But first, let's go to the legendary great Bob Hurricane Hanna. He's standing by in the pits.
Thank you, Larry. We're here in Washougal, Washington, after about a 3-day downpour. It's seen its way to clear up today, and take it from me, we've got a great racetrack. I've ridden here about 10 years and never seen it better. Beside me, we've got a guy, Damon Bradshaw, who's won a few motos here, but never won an overall, and he's looking for that one today. Damon, how you doing?
I feel really good here today. The track looks like it's going to be nice.
You've ridden here a few times before. It's been a little dusty, been a little muddy, and on a track like this, I think all of us would like to ride.
Yeah, I think so. I've been here in the dust, the mud, and, you know, the bad conditions. I think we got pretty lucky today with the rain. I think the guys worked really hard and got the track prepped, so it's going to be due for some good racing.
Welcome back to National Championship Motocross. I'm Larry Myers. We're in Washougal, Washington for the second round of the 500cc National Championship Series. The opening moto of the day in that class, the 500 class, is on the line, and we're just about set to go. There goes the gate, and 40 of the fastest 500cc riders in the country are underway. Jeff Ward, the rider that Bob Hanna was talking to just a short while ago before we took a commercial break, takes the whole shot and comes out in corner number 1, but no, look at that, Damon Bradshaw. Ward had the lead going into that corner, but Bradshaw snuck by on the inside, just like Ward is doing right now to Bradshaw. And Bradshaw momentarily took the number 1 position. But Ward is back out front, Bradshaw running second. Jeff Stanton, I believe, is in the number 3 position. Looked like Jean-micheal Bale in 4th. To this humongous set of whoop-de-doos comes Jeff Ward, just skimming over the top. The Kawasaki handling beautifully in the early going of moto number 1. It's in the number 2 position. It's still Jean-micheal Bale, the Frenchman who is on top of the national championship point standing. He's being chased by his teammate, Jeff Stanton, rider number 2, in the number 3 position. And look at this as the riders come back into view. Jean-micheal Bale has taken over the number 1 position. Bale is leading. It's Jeff Ward running back in the number 2 slot. Jeff Stanton in 3rd. Now, I don't know if Ward is having some kind of problem with his motorcycle, or whether maybe he tweaked a knee or an ankle and he's having some kind of a physical problem, but Ward definitely has dropped off the pace. He is not going as fast as he did in the opening laps. Jean-micheal Bale has taken over the number 1 position. Here comes Stanton to the inside, and Stanton puts the move on Ward, and Stanton takes over second. Stanton trying to get a run on the inside, and Jeff Stanton takes over the number 1 spot. Can he hold it? Bale kind of squared that corner off and got back inside Stanton to regain the lead, but Jeff Stanton put the drive on and took over for just a few feet there, that number 1 position. Jean-micheal Bale pulls down the lead. In fact, he's lengthened it here in the closing stages, the last lap, I should add, of moto number 1. Jeff Stanton will hold on to take the number 2 spot. It's going to be Jeff Ward finishing 3rd. Damon Bradshaw will be 4th. Running out the top 5 is going to be, unless they crash in the next few corners, Ron. Welcome back. Still one moto to go at Washougal, Washington. National Championship Motocross. I'm Larry Myers. That's the 500cc class. They're on the line as we look at some of the huge crowd here today enjoying themselves in the bright sunshine and beautiful weather at this beautiful facility. That's the tail end of the 125 class. As soon as those riders are off the track, the gate will drop in this 500, and we're set to go. And it looks like, and it is for the second time today, Jeff Ward from Mission Viejo, California, aboard a Kawasaki, shoots to the front. Now, Ward had the lead in moto number 1. We told you that we thought that either Ward was having a problem or a problem with the motorcycle, one of the two, and we found out between motos that Ward indeed did have a bike problem as he is chased here by Jeff Stanton in the number 2 position. Jeff Ward is out front, running in the number 2 position is Jeff Stanton. I'm not sure who that was in third, but I can tell you in fourth it was Jean-micheal. There's that third place rider was Damon Bradshaw, rider number 11. So Bradshaw aboard the Yamaha is up close and set to do damage on the rest of this field. At the outset of the season, there was discussion with regard to whether or not the Yamaha was capable of staying with the latest technology because, quite frankly, Yamaha has not done a lot of developmental work on that 500 engine since Brock Glover wrote it several years ago. So they got it out of mothballs. It's an air-cooled, where the rest of these are water-cooled. Got it out of mothballs and said, let's give it a shot. Instead of putting Bradshaw Dubach back into the 125 class, we'll go 500cc racing. And the bike has certainly proven to be competitive with the rest of the motorcycles in this class. Bradshaw currently running in the number 3 position. There was a quick look at Ward running out the left side of your screen, then Stanton, and now Jean-micheal trying to work his way around Damon Bradshaw. Bale, the series points leader, also the winner of moto number 1, and has not been able to get the job done as far as passing Bradshaw at this stage of the game. It's still early going in moto number 2 of this 500cc class. Bradshaw working the Yamaha. Bale trying to get an inside line and outside line as the riders go up over the top of that jump and disappear from our view. He really doesn't care what kind of line he gets. He just wants to make a pass. Ward still out front. Jeff Stanton in second, and Bale out of our sight. Got the job done. Bale holds now the number 3 position, dropping Damon Bradshaw back to 4th. Right now, though, Ward is riding flawlessly on this Washougal track. Jeff Ward holding down the lead. I already told you that Ward is the only 4-time winner here at Washougal, but how about riders that have won here 3 times? Well, there are only 2 of them, Brock Glover and Rick Johnson. Now, are you ready for this? Rick Johnson, for the first time, won in 1983 in the 250 class. Would you believe this? He was riding a Yamaha. He did it again in 1984 on that same motorcycle, and of course, right after that, switching to Team Honda, where he won so many championships for the Big Red machine. This one is winding down the second race in the 500cc class. Jeff Ward has dominated since the opening lap, and one has to wonder. I pointed this out to you at the outset of this moto. It deserves saying again, had Ward not had the shock absorber problem in the first moto, would he not have dominated there too? Jeff Ward about to take the checkered flag, and he wins the second moto here at Washougal, and he'll win overall honors for the day in this 500cc class.
In the decade that followed, Ricky Carmichael won Washougal 4 times. But the off-slippery track lended itself well to the talents of Kevin Windham, who actually wrestled away the wins from Carmichael in 2001 and again in 2003.
New history awaits today at Washougal. This is the Scott USA Nationals from Washougal, and we are glad to have you with us to find out what history will be made today. And all eyes are on Kevin Windham, the man who dethroned what we thought was a streak that may live on forever. But David Bailey, last week, it all came to an end.
Well, all good things come to an end, and it was amazing that Carmichael was able to put together so many wins. But the one rider that everyone felt could stop that streak was Kevin Windham, and he proved everyone right. Ricky knows that his problems haven't ended there at Unadilla here at Washougal, where Windham beat him in the first place. That 450 Honda hooks up great on this slippery dirt. Well, I really believe Kevin's got the advantage here. I know that Ricky's motivated. He's probably upset with having lost last week. Of course, he's not bummed out, but he doesn't want that to continue. So he's going to come out fighting and ride hard, try to stop the momentum of Windham. But momentum is on Windham's side, and this is a good track. He's on a roll, and he likes the feeling of winning.
We're off and running at Washougal. Big wide left-hand turn into no one's surprise, or maybe to everyone's surprise. Number 14, Windham Up in front, Carmichael in second place. So it's Carmichael and Wyndham going 2 and 1 respectively, and the fans are turning it up.
Beautiful line of Kevin Wyndham up into the first corner. Just was able to drift wide, protect the inside of the next corner as he headed up the first jump. Just laid that thing flat. Looked like James Stewart as he went up the jump to stay low and get all of that horsepower of that 450 down to the ground. But he's got Carmichael knocking on the door. This is what we all wanted to see right here.
Kevin Wyndham, number 14 out of Centerville, Mississippi, is your leader here in Moto number 1, the 250 class. Number 4, Ricky Carmichael, the defending champion. And I'll tell you what, Wyndham is starting to pull him. Here's Larry Ward sitting in third place, number 10. So Honda right now going 1, 2, and 3. Your leader, Kevin Wyndham, on board his Honda 450 factory connection Honda. Wyndham all but checking out. Ricky Carmichael trying to keep him intact. And out in front, number 14, your leader, Kevin Wyndham.
Smooth as silk. Just with such a great style to watch. He makes it look so easy.
Kevin Wyndham making it look easy. Your leader here in Moto number 1. You talked about his style, how easy it makes it look. This guy, you know, at the start of the show, we said for Ricky Carmichael, he's got to keep in contact with him visually. And right now, unless he's got Superman vision, Carmichael is not going to be seeing him.
Oh, look at this. You know, he's got to look way over in the other part of the track to see him.
Final lap for your leader, Kevin Wyndham, number 14 on the 450 factory connection ride.
Kevin, his lines have been incredible, just like I figured he would be able to do here at Washougal. Master of lines. But he's just so graceful, Todd. I mean, everything he does is so fluid, so pretty. He's coming around to the checkered flag right now. It'll be 3 in a row.
Kevin Wyndham making his way through the majestic conifers of the Pacific Northwest. And what a beautiful backdrop for the winner in Moto number 1. So we talk about streaks. We talk about Ricky Carmichael's streak. Folks, Kevin Wyndham is on a streak of his own. That's 3 for 3 for Wyndham. This is Moto number 2 from Washougal. Kevin Wyndham got the first victory. Let's see, David, if he can put this one to bed.
He doesn't get the start this time. It's a good start, but it looked like Kyle Lewis stole it from him. Heath Boss in there too, and Nick Way on a 250. Amazing he was able to get that kind of a jump on all the factory riders.
So the Yamaha's certainly got a chewing out after. They're sitting in second and third right now, but it's number 23, the Michael Jordan of Motocross. Kyle Lewis out in front, and Lewis looking very sharp. But on the outside, there's number 14, Kevin Wyndham. Look at that move he puts on him.
Tried to. It's a good idea anyway, but Nick's just a little too clever for that. He's not going to give it up that easy. And Kevin's smart, man. You got to attack right now. That's what made McGrath so impressive in Supercross, and Ricky so impressive all these years, and now James Stewart. As they attack immediately, they don't let riders settle in and get comfortable before they attack.
This is Bubba-esque. Kevin Wyndham was poor on the start, having been back in the pack and not what he's accustomed to. And look at the lines. You talked about his beautiful lines out here through the trees. He is just flying through the shadows. Kevin Wyndham, the shadow assassin, and Ricky Carmichael, number 4, changes his gear. So it looks like the Fox Jinx is out. He's off orange stuff. He's got the new stuff going now, but he's sitting in 8th place and trying to make a move to get back up to catch up with Kevin Wyndham. Speaking of Carmichael, he has moved up to 5th place. Had a terrible start, was sitting in 9th or 10th. Here's Carmichael on the gas, number 4 on board the Honda. And Ricky Carmichael trying to salvage the day, David. I know he wants to be on that podium, but he's in danger right now as he's dropped all the way back. Got a second in Moto number 1. Meanwhile, Kevin Wyndham is all but checked out.
Kevin is just, he's on fire right now. I think the track suits him. Very comfortable right now. His confidence is soaring, and he's on a roll after the Unadilla sweep.
And welcome back to Washougal. We're in the final moments of Moto number 2, and it has been the Kevin Wyndham show. Wyndham may get the keys to the city, but right now he's looking for the overall, and he is the leader, and he's all the way gone.
He railed that right-hand berm right there in those shadows. So perfect. He just bounced out of the berm into the next corner.
Well, this should be fun. They battled through Supercross Series all the way down to Las Vegas. This is Carmichael and Reed. Reed number 22 on the Yamaha, Carmichael number 4 on the Honda. Not the best of friends, but they show each other respect, and this time Ricky Carmichael just takes what he thinks it is. He's probably wondering, where is everyone? He has absolutely run away with this race. Kyle Lewis got a great start, give him credit, but shortly thereafter, Kevin Wyndham came to the trees and took the lead and has not looked back, except just to find out if he's all by himself here in Washougal, Washington for the Scott USA National. So Kevin Wyndham continues his streak. make it 4 in a row. And Windham, as Ricky Carmichael finally comes into view, Kevin Windham finally sees some competition. Carmichael unable to close the gap at the very end, and Kevin Windham will pick up another victory.
Despite being the ostensible home track of his primary rival, Ryan Villopoto, Ryan Dungey is the winningest rider in Washougal history, capturing 5 victories at the track to break a tie with Carmichael. He failed to win at the track just once in 6 attempts, with Villopoto taking his one and only hometown win in 2013, his 5th attempt.
But he wants to win this race in front of the home folks desperately, Jeff. So what do you expect between these guys?
Well, I mean, how ironic is it that as great as Ryan Villopoto has been in his career, that his hometown race here at Washougal, that he's never won the overall. He's won motos, but he hasn't completed the whole thing and taken the overall. Today he started out right. He's the fastest qualifier. Check. Now he's got 2 more motos to try to accomplish that. The problem is his nearest competitor, Ryan Dungey, he's won the last 5 in a row. 5 in a row Dungey has won here, so momentum is on his side also, and Dungey desperately needs a win to get himself closer in the championship chase.
Dungey beats everyone into the first turn and gets to the motorcyclesuperstore.com stripe first.
Dungey on the factory Red Bull team. KTMs are dialed in here off the start at Washougal.
Absolutely, and Villopoto about 5th right now. It's Barsha into the number 2 spot.
How explosive number 2 here on the green Kawasaki Villopoto can be in the beginning part of the race. He's got his work cut out for him. Also because you can be too aggressive on this track. Villopoto riding with so much confidence. He has been exceptional this year. 11 moto wins, 4 overalls.
Look at that bad over the bike, but where did Villopoto even come from?
And the left side, Ryder's left side, has been better. Stewart takes the line back. They have added some rollers and a small jump midway up Horsepower Hill to try to slow these 450s down. And the left side is nice and smooth.
It's this tight S-turn section where Nicoletti got run into on the first lap. See, there's just no room for Villopoto to make passes, but he's still trying to find some lines. Villopoto has to reset himself and go to work. But the good news for him, the gap is not that big. Dungey is your leader here on the 1, but you see Barsha and Stewart and even Villopoto not too far behind. It is abnormal this year for him to be halfway mark of the race and Villopoto not a man on a charge for the lead. Dungey rides so well here. Why do you think that is?
And his style that he has, his technique, he's really smooth with the throttle, right? He has like basic textbook perfect technique.
And out of nowhere, Ryan Villopoto has struck. And I'm talking 3 or 4 corners. He made up a ton of ground on James Stewart and has put the Monster Energy Kawasaki in front of the Yoshimura Suzuki. This is a battle for second, Jeff.
And these fans from the great Northwest, they responded when Villopoto dropped down at Built Ford Tough drop-off, and he had taken the position from Stewart on the backside of the track. That is what they want to see out of their points leader.
These fans at Washougal watched Ryan Villopoto in those days growing up to be a future superstar, but it is odd how it has worked here in Washington. It has been the domain of Minnesota's Ryan Dungey. You can now see Villopoto. The 5-second gap is now a 4.1 second gap, but this is the last lap.
1 lap to go up Horsepower Hill. Dungey has executed this race to perfection. So far, he's had the luxury of being out front, but Villopoto has been the aggressors.
Final turn here into the whoops. Fans starting to pick it up. They're excited. He's got a rider in front of him. Villopoto's going to give it a run. He runs out of time. Ryan Dungey wins moto number 1 here at Washougal, and his spectacular performances at this track, another one in the books. Dungey just rides darn well here. Give credit to Villopoto for closing it in at the end. Comes in here as your points leader in the 450 class, yet he has never won at his home track. Could today be the day that number 2 is finally number 1 in front of the locals? Hello everyone, and welcome to Washougal. Jason Wygant joined by
it's gonna be close.
Oh, Villapoto and Dungey battling for it, but it's going to be Josh Grant on the 33. And then he comes off the machine. And somehow Dungey got by him and takes the lead from Villapoto. I don't know how Dungey threaded the needle, but he did it. And he leads Villapoto and Grant up and down Horsepower Hill. So here we go.
Two of the best riders, arguably the best riders in the world, 1 and 2.
What a battle between Dungey and Villapoto. It has been this close for the first 7 minutes of this one, and it seems like every time Villapoto figures out a few new lines and is able to put a little pressure on, Dungey is able to respond and cover them. It's really strange that of all the tracks on this circuit for Villapoto to struggle on, it's the home race.
Watch this.
Not struggling now. To the inside. Villapoto has the lead for the first time today.
Dungey has got to answer. He has to get tough. He has to get motivated, get aggressive here, and try to make that move back on Villapoto.
Could today finally be the day? Villapoto has been racing here as a pro since 2006. Has never won the overall. He's got a shot at it right now. Well, we thought a battle was going to materialize when Villapoto got around Dungey. We thought that maybe Dungey was going to be taken by surprise. Maybe he could reset things. Hasn't happened. Villapoto has marched away.
The bottom line is Villapoto now with a 7.7 second lead over Dungey has mastered the track here today. It's close. Never won here, but right now he's riding with so much confidence, so fluid, just putting the bike wherever he wants to put it. Could he be on his way to his first overall at his home race?
Ryan Villapoto, is his Washougal jinx finally about to end? Anything that could go wrong has gone wrong from here at his home track.
Looks over at the crowd, you see him cheering on the hometown boy here. A few more turns to go, and then he's going to make that right-hander, head down the whoop section to the Lucas Oil finish line. They're going to let him know it when he comes down that final straight right here. This has been an awesome ride.
Unbelievable that it took this long, but that only makes it even sweeter. Ryan Villapoto, in front of the home state fans, has finally won here at Washougal. And the fans have finally gotten what they wanted. Ryan Villapoto from Washington has won here in Washington.
By this point, Ralph Huffman was slowly easing away from managing Washougal, with his son, Ryan, a formidable late 90s racer himself, beginning to take over operations. Today, Ryan and family continue to run the track. Ralph Huffman passed away on March 22nd, 2021, at the age of 83. At the 43rd Washougal National on Saturday, the season-long battle continues, now with KTM's Chase Sexton in the driver's seat. Sexton now has 3 overall wins, 5 moto wins in a row, and the momentum on his side to get another and pull even in 2024 victories, with the absent defending champion and even further ahead in his championship series. Hunter Lawrence is nonetheless having a phenomenal first season on the 450. Its success masked only by Little Brothers Jet's results in the previous year. Hunter has gotten 5 hole shots in 14 motos, and would have 8, if not for the 3 times he followed only Jet into the first turn. He's the only rider to have been on the podium at all 7 rounds, and still has led the most laps, 55. Of anyone who isn't in his immediate family. Win or lose this title, he's had a fantastic rookie outing. And hey, if you like this video, please like this video. Maybe we'll tap the subscribe button. Leave a comment if you know how to type. Meanwhile, thanks for watching this.